Welcome back. We have done all the basic setup that we needed to do to start using Xero in our business. So now we are ready to start recording the business transactions like income, expenses, receiving money and paying money. Let us begin by recording the first transaction of the business, which usually happens, and that is owner deposits some money into the business account. And here I would say that owner has deposited $10,000 into the petty cash. So how would we record that? How would we record this receiving of money from the owner? So what we will do is we will click on these three dots here beside the petty cash account. Since the money is coming into the petty cash, we will use this petty cash account. We will click on this, and here you will see this receive money option. We will click on that, and now you will see that this window has opened. Now first of all, let's talk about the owner. Who is the owner? We need to enter the name for them. So name of the owner here is John Smith. I will just write that, and you can see that system is showing you no contact from the list. If there was already a contact, it must has appeared here in the form of a drop down, but that is not the case here. But system is telling you that you can create a new contact though. So we will create this new contact by clicking here, and so easily the new contact has been created. The next thing that we need to record is the date. So I will click here, and you can select the date on which this transaction happened, or you can even just type in the date here rather than going to the drop down calendar. Now this reference field is just an additional optional field if you need to record something for your own reference. So I would just write it here, owner's first deposit. You can write anything that you want, and then here we have to choose an item. Since this is not an item, this is not an inventory sale or purchase, we are not going to record anything here. In the description I would just write deposit by the owner. It is just optional field, you can write anything. The next field is quantity. Here you will be entering the quantity usually if you are selling something, but right now we are just receiving the money, so I will have to enter the quantity as 1. This is a mandatory field, so I just need to enter something. I will enter 1, and the unit price here is $10,000. So I will enter the price and the account. Now this is important. Here you can choose any account depending on the situation. It can be a revenue account or expense account or something different, but here in my case the money is coming from the owner, so I would say this is an equity account. I mean owner's account should be used, and it should be owner A funds introduced, and this is not a taxable item, so I will say no VAT. Well, we are already talking about a no VAT, I mean no sales tax business here, so in my case it will always be no VAT. And then finally I will click on save, and this transaction will be entered, and you can see the first transaction has been recorded. It is telling you that it is unreconciled right now. We haven't reconciled it with the bank. We will learn that in the upcoming lectures, that how do we reconcile, but we are not going there right now. Right now we only need to understand one thing, and that is the money has come into the business from the owner. Now one important thing that we should be doing as a business owner or as an accountant is to always understand the impact of a transaction on the reports. And two reports that I would always like to request you to keep checking is profit and loss account and the balance sheet. This is profit and loss account. You may know it as income statement, and the other one is balance sheet. So let me give you a quick summary. Profit and loss account will show you the summary of all the income and expenses. The balance sheet will show you the summary of all the assets and liabilities and owner's money. So basically we have learned 5 different categories until now. Income and expenses, those are summarized here. Assets, liabilities and owner's money, owner's capital, that is summarized here in the balance sheet. So right now in this transaction that we have just recorded, we have recorded owner's money. The cash has come into the business, that is asset, and then owner's money. So the report that would be impacted would be balance sheet. So I will right click on this and I will click on open link in new tab. But if you are not looking at this report in this drop down list here that we have just opened, if you are not looking profit and loss or balance sheet here, do not worry, you can go to the reports from here and it will open all the reports for you, and from there you can use those reports. I will take you there later on. First I'm just using this report from here. So balance sheet, right click and open link in new tab, and this will open the balance sheet for you, and you can see we have our balance sheet open now. So first of all we need to choose a right period here. So in my case I have recorded the transaction of 1st of August. So you can use any date after this particular date, I mean 1st of August, you can use any date to see that impact. But let's be specific here, let's go to 1st of August directly and we can see the impact that. Okay, compare with nothing. Do you want to compare it with previous 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and it will give you the summary from the previous years as well. But right now we don't have to do that. We will just click on update and let us see our balance sheet. So in our balance sheet you can see that we have a petty cash of $10,000. that is making the total cash at bank in hand 10,000, and that is making total assets to be 10,000, and that is making total assets minus liabilities 10,000. This is the same thing repeated multiple times. The only figure that you need to remember is this petty cash is $10,000. And on the other hand, you will notice that there is a transaction appearing here, a line appearing here, and that is owner's fund introduced, that is $10,000. So this way your balance sheet will always be balanced. This side of the balance sheet, total assets, will always be equal to total liabilities. So our balance sheet is balanced. We can now move on to the next transaction, but before that let me tell you something, and that is you can drill down, dig down the data that you have entered from the reports itself. So you will see that these figures here are appearing as a blue number. So whenever you see a blue number in Xero, it means that you can click on that, and when you will do that, you will be able to go back to the transactions that you have recorded right from the face of the balance sheet. And you can see we can now receive our transaction directly. We can now see our transaction directly from the balance sheet. And if you want to go further back, you can click on this $10,000 again, and it will take you even back to the screen where you have originally recorded this transaction. You need to change something here. Did you record the amount with a wrong amount? All you need to do is to click on this and click on edit transaction, and it will open this pane for you where you can edit this value. For example, say if you want to say that the amount was not actually 10,000, you mistakenly entered that the amount was actually $8,000. All you need to do is to enter this 8,000 now and click on update, and you will see that the figures will change. And now if I go back to my balance sheet report and run it on this particular date, that is 1st of August 2024, and I run this report, I should be seeing the balance of $8,000 now. So in this lecture we have learned to not just record the receive money transaction, we have also learned to update, edit the receive money transaction if you record some wrong amount. And finally I just need to show you one more thing, and that is, let us open the profit and loss account as well. And we need to make sure that the profit and loss account has not been impacted with this transaction, because in profit and loss only the income and expenses will be impacted. So right now you can see we are looking at the complete 2024 in which we have recorded that transaction, but right now there is no income, no expense, and no profit. So there is nothing to see here, and this is what we expected. Now one more thing that I need to show you right now is another report, and that report will actually help you find the data for any specific contact. So for that we will click here on the accounting, and from this drop down that particular report is not visible. So we will rather go to this reports tab here, right click and open link in new tab. And on this new tab, you will be able to see all the reports that you have in your Xero account. So the reports that are your favorites right now, which are appearing in the drop down when we click here, you can see these are the reports. And then we have financial performance related report, financial statements, payables and receivables related report, payroll, projects, reconciliations, and all of these reports. So we will see all of them later on when we need them. But right now the report that I need to show you is this one, the income and expenses by contact. This is going to be another favorite report and we will use it quite often. So I would like to make it a favorite and make it appear in the drop down. For this I will click on this star here, and once you do that you will see this will become a blue star, and now you will see that this report is now in your favorites, and when you click on this drop down this report is appearing here. But never mind, we can click here on to get this report run. We can simply click here as well, and this will open this report for you. Just give it a second. And here you can see that for any specific period you can run this report. Right now it is from 1st of August till 31st of August, and you can see we have only one particular contact here, that is John Smith, and this type is income. Well, it is not actually income, but we can ignore this here. And then the amount is 8,000, and you know that if I click on this amount it will take me to the original transaction. But right now I don't need to do that. I will do it later on. There are some additional things in this report. For example, you can select how many columns should be appearing, and I will show that to you later on what else we can do with that. You can select that how many previous periods should be appearing. So right now we have August as the selected period, so you can bring in the specific number of periods here which will be appearing for the comparison purposes. And you can also summarize this report at different levels, but we will see all of that at different level. Right now the most important thing that we need to know is this basic standard report, which itself is very helpful. So done with this report, let me show you one last report that will be very helpful for us in our accounting, and that will be this account transactions report. All of these 4 reports will be the most frequent reports that we will use. So right now I need to go to the account transactions. I will click on this and this screen will open for you. First of all, you need to select an account. So which particular account you want to see. You know that we have already done a transaction in which we hit the petty cash account and the owners fund introduce account. So you can see any of the accounts that you want to see. Right now I will use petty cash and I will select the period. This period is okay, and some additional adjustments that we can do here. But right now we will just click on update, and you can see this is showing me all the transactions that are going into the petty cash. And of course if I click on this I can go back to the original transactions. Right now there is only one transaction, so it is not very kind of exciting, but when we have a lot of data you will see how helpful this report is. So with this we have seen all the basic reports: profit and loss, balance sheet, account transactions, and income and expenses by contact. One last thing, if you have to delete your transaction, let us say you are not happy with the transaction and you want to find it, you want to edit it, you want to delete it, how you can find that transaction? Of course you can go to the reports and click on them and find backwards from there, but another option is to use this search icon here and search anything that you know about this transaction. So for example, if I know the name with which this transaction was recorded, John, I can just write that and system will give me all the results that have with this word John Smith. And if I click on this, it will take me to that transaction. If I just don't know the name, I know that money is coming from the owner, I will just write that and it will give me all the transactions that have the same word used in description or reference. If I just know the name of the account, I will just type that, and you can see I can find the transaction like this as well. And even if you don't know that, you just know the amount, just type in the amount and you can see you can get your transaction. So this search icon is very helpful. This search option is very helpful. All you need to do is to type in anything that you know for this particular transaction and it will take you there.